So I am a huge fan of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes for the GameCube. It's hands down my favorite Metroid game, but the reason for why is what we'll be discussing with today's video. Now, many players of all kinds tend to decry cheat codes or mods as, quote, unfair way to play games. I personally think as long as you're not using them in a competitive game or an online game, then it's fine if you do it at home. I've made several videos over the years about using cheat codes in games, but I figured I'd explain how cheats make Metroid Prime 2 my favorite Metroid game of all time. Simply put, Metroid Prime 2 is hard. Its bosses, the world design, the power-ups, everything screams limited and difficult level design. But it's partly because of that I wanted to master its game growing up. Primarily being the first thing I did was look on a way to fire missiles even faster, as the default missile launcher speed isn't the best, and definitely slower compared to the method of matching the A button after firing a missile as seen in Prime 1. Next was a way for me to access special doors without the use of the appropriate weapons. This is where the Phas beam cheat code comes in. I've explained it before in a previous video, which you can see in the top corner here, but it's basically taking the final boss's Phas beam you get from firing back at Dark Samus in the final time, and it applies it to your base weapon for the entire game. This is very tricky, however, as the way you activate and deactivate the code is a bit finicky. Activating it requires you to hold down R and L buttons, I think, then deactivating is supposed to be the same button combination. However, it's very random as to when it wants to work properly, if at all. So you'll have multiple times when you're beyond a wave of door you just opened the way with the dark beam, using the Phas beam, and then when you want to leave, the Phas beam has deactivated, and then you have to fiddle with it for 5 minutes to make it work again. Also, this beam does not work on secret missile doors, so you'll still have to obtain that the old-fashioned way. Besides that, however, Phas beam works on every other obstacle, and it activates both light and dark portals, so you never have to use any ammo. The next thing I was looking for was the moon jump cheat. Moon jumping is basically hovering in the air in a video game, and it's common as a cheat code among Metroid games. Since Metroid games are primarily based on platforming, being able to hover to any platform you want without a care in the world is very handy. This is especially useful in Prime 2, because for example, in the Torpus Bog, you have to deal with the water hindering your movements for most of the area until you defeat the Alpha Bog about 2 hours into exploring. However, moon jumping makes this power obsolete, as it allows you to hover wherever you want. You can get many expansions early using this method, including the Sunburst located in the temple grounds, and many missile expansions across the entire game. Moon jumping is also useful to hit enemies who are stuck on the ground, though this isn't effective with enemies that possess projectile attacks. Lastly, the cheat that basically breaks the game is the infinite health cheat. Now this is a cheat I only started using recently, but it is exactly as described. It prevents your health from going down. With this cheat, bosses are no longer any hindrance whatsoever, and neither is the Dark World itself. This is especially helpful in the beginning hours of the game when you first get into the Dark World, as it prevents you from taking any damage from the atmosphere, which allows you to explore areas you wouldn't normally be able to do without the Dark Suit or Light Suit. This is helpful for some of the Sky Temple keys as well, as one of them is guarded by an Ing Storm which quickly drains your health if you're not using the Light Suit. Again, I know cheating is considered taboo for many gamers, but for me, these cheats make Metroid Prime 2 my favorite Metroid game of all time. Without them, I'd probably rank it as my 5th favorite game in the series overall. It seems silly, I know, but hacking or cheating games is extremely fun for me. If you disagree with cheating in games, tell me in the comments, and while you're down there, why not click the subscribe button to see more of my content from me in the future. Until next time, this has been GDS, and keep it fun one video at a time, and I will see you guys in the next one.